Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Here we go. Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests, some legends
Icons
in the building, some icons in the building today from my borough of Queens. I just would like to say that. Salt-N-Pepa's here. Morning.
And we in the back. What's up?
Good
morning, ladies.
Good morning, Angela.
Doesn't it feel great to know that your biopic is about to come out? What's that feeling like? Because everybody's going to be watching that on Lifetime. You know that's an event.
That is amazing feeling. 36 years.
Wow.
Finally, we've been talking about it, telling the story for a long time now, and we're able to finally have the world to see it visual, put a visual to it, to the story. So it feels good. It's coming to it, down to it.
Talk about how it came about, because a lot of times people don't get to tell their stories, but were you guys involved? Did you get to tell your story, or you executive producers? How did the whole situation come together?
Wait, me, Pep?
Oh, if you want, I just said, I was sharing the.
Well, we have been wanting to do this for a long time, and Pep and I had shopped it around and talked to different companies. Lifetime always wanted to do it. They were the ones that were eager, ready, willing. And after a while, it got to a point where me and Pep was like, well, mostly Pep, she was like, girl, we better do this movie before somebody else does it. Because you know how that can happen if we want to be involved. And so Chianne and Latifah had a relationship with Lifetime. So it just all came together. Of course, we are executive producers, definitely had to have a say in our movie. The script got written and rewritten, and it went through a lot of changes. And we finally came up, mainly the story of our friendship and the challenges of being women in a male-dominated field of hip-hop music, and the struggles that we went through personally in our personal lives as well as in our relationship.
Now, did y'all have reservations about Lifetime because it's Lifetime?
Absolutely. I cannot tell a lie. I'm a straight shooter, It all came together. And like I said, out of just wanting to, get the story done, I acquiesced, I relinquished control, and I decided to give it a chance. It was what's his name that did New Edition?
Jesse Collins. Jesse Collins.
It started out with Jesse Collins, and then something happened and he ended up pulling out, and that made me really comfortable, because I liked what he did. But then, things changed. I mean, we went through the process of getting the movie done with Lifetime with trepidation, fear and trepidation. But I feel like the outcome is satisfactory. But it's gonna be up to the people, know how they feel.
At first of all, for me, I was trying to go into the theaters before there was a Lifetime.
Y'all should be in the theaters.
Yes.
I think it could have been in the theaters. Yeah.
I was like, this is the theater movie. Then when the whole thing with Lifetime and my journey with it, because here you have like 30 odd years, and putting it in 2 hours is a lot to tell, is a lot, that you have to narrow down. And I used to want it, more time then, and then Lifetime honored that and gave us, even the extra hours. Like we have a special after, the movie and everything like that. So the relationship grew to having a good deal with them in terms of something that, we wanted. And, and it was important to be executive producers hands down.
That's
because
right.
trust and believe they wouldn't have been some rewrites that had to have rewrites. Some things they just, of course, the network and they're going to want to focus a lot or exaggerate on certain stories. And it's like, nope, as you know about those stories.
I know. Now, y'all know I came into work when I seen it, and I was so excited to see it. But you guys are right, because that's a lot. 36 years is a lot to fit into a movie. That's why I feel like, because there were some things as a Salt-N-Pepa fan my whole life, there were some things that I was like, damn, I wanted to see this happen, or I wanted to see that, or this song. And there's some songs that were huge for you guys that obviously for the sake of time couldn't be in there. But I feel like you could also do a theatrical movie in addition to this, because your story really spans until now and it's still going.
I agree. There's more story to tell. You know, there's like when you go through the process of movieizing your life, you know, it's strange. And when you're up close to it and then you're working on it, it's a difficult process. But one of the things that, like you said, I was, you know, unhappy about, I Take Your Man is not in the movie, My Mic Sound Nice is not in the movie. So like all those songs that solidified us in the streets in the beginning is missing, because you have legal limitations and you have budget limitations. So I felt all of that, what you're saying.
How many times did Salt-N-Pepa break? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna say, how many times did Salt-N-Pepa actually break up? Because y'all were together for 37 years, and like any strong brother and sister, sister and sister, there's fights, there's problems, there's situations. How many times did y'all say this is over, and then y'all came back together?
Once.
Well, the only once will say is over. Use the word is over. Oh, it's Salt. I'm gonna keep it. Look, I know I'm not in a bad way, but you know, and the word, but over or say it.
I took a 10-year break from Peppa. She's a lot.
She takes breaks.
I call her the Tasmanian devil. She's
be real. There's more than one breaks, but she calls them a timeout. But that's and me ask the questions. I would just tell them it was more than one. But there are different levels to them.
Different breakups.
Different breakups.
Different breakups. That's what it is. Different breakups.
You know what? Being a celebrity, it's kind of traumatizing. You know, like we can go through history of all the celebrities, whether it's actors or musicians that have overdosed, you know, that have committed suicide, that have just kind of lost it. And there's a lot that comes along with it, you know. And so I think that mental health, like Charlamagne, I definitely commend you for being an advocate for mental health. And my break, you know, we could get into all the details of what I did after if you want to, but my break was for my mental health. And I needed that time to get myself together. So in the movie, you do see that I was severely bulimic. You know, I was not handling the fame well. Me and Pep was not getting along at all. You know, I was feeling a lot of disconnect, a lot of resentment that I did not understand. And I just wanted to do me, you know, for a while, whatever that was. I wanted to do it for myself. So I took that moment, that 10 years to get my sanity, figure out who I am and what I want as an individual apart from this iconic brand that we created.
Well, with that said, Salt, how traumatic was it for you and Pepper to relive some of this stuff in the movie?
It was not, I wouldn't say very traumatic. It was emotional, the whole thing. I haven't written a book yet because every time I try to go back and talk about my childhood and things that I experienced, I become very overwhelmed with emotions. Who wants to keep going back to those things, you know? And then also for me with the movie, you know, I didn't really want to pull other people's story into my story. That was very delicate for me as well. You know, things that, you know, me and my dad had to work on. I didn't want to pull that into the story because me and my dad worked on our stuff and we got our stuff together. He's one of my besties now. But in a movie, you only going to get to show like the bad part because you only got 3 hours. I can't go and be like, you know what, my dad is my hero now and let's show this part. So even with my husband, he's the father of my kids. So for me, it's very difficult to tell other people's story. Me, I'll tell you what went on with me, but you know, it's a difficult position to be in. So I was walking a tightrope during this movie.
You know, and I think people have to realize too, as young women who came into this game, y'all have to deal with a lot of things, with body issues, with relationship drama, with, you know, with being compared, all that, like not with being compared to men all the time, but you could sell as many records as you did, but still not get the respect that you deserve. Y'all had to deal with imposters that were pretending to be Salt-N-Pepa and going in there and get this, all kinds of things that y'all had to deal with. And so I can't imagine motherhood. That's something that you both have to deal with while you're in the group. And it just hits different, you know, when you have all those separate issues.
And being said all of that, and for me, it was taking in that and dealing with that. Salt-N-Pepa, and for me, I was dealing with some issues as well. And like coming from that time as being being in this group, selling platinums and not getting the just due with the street credit, because we're popular, doing all this greatness. So we were always constantly proving ourselves. And then I felt, you know, then there's for me, the fight, the struggle within the group. Now here I have it out and I'm proving myself, you know, and I'm doing it, and Salt-N-Pepa selling and we're getting it, you know. I just do it in terms of, well, you know, our strength and keep pushing. But then here I'm dealing within, and like you said, Salt-N-Pepa dealing with all of this. I too had lost the father. I mean, and then for me, Salt-N-Pepa was everything for me. It was my path, it was my journey, and me, I was giving it my all. I understand, this is me, Jamaican. I separate the good and the bad. I understand there's negative energy and there's positive energy, and I make no mistake with the two. And so I go in understanding there's going to be pain, but I don't let pain move in I'm not going to let it move in. You know, it'll visit me, but I don't let pain move in with me. And I just always had that mentality to deal with these problems head on and just say, how do I move forward from here? How do I grow from here? You know, but with Salt being my partner, and my friend, because we was friends before there was a Salt-N-Pepa, we were Sandy Shell in school. So going through these same things, having these other problems, as you will see in the movies, you know, I did not know anything that she was going through personally, because I am an open book. I wrote a book. So I am an extrovert. I'm open with telling my story, sharing my downfalls or my uplifting stories and my down stories, like this, doing this, my story. And so for me, and then there's the boyfriend, as you see, Herbie, the one who started it, bless him. And then he's, you know, the boyfriend. So she's in a compromising position. I'm the friend, she's the girlfriend of the boyfriend, also the manager. My situation was so difficult. What you see, there was a place that I had that I was put in a box and know my place. So I'm dealing it within the group now, massaging and everything, and proving myself and fighting for a voice, but understanding this thing I have, and I'm going for it. So when we're having turbulence, because people are dividing and all this stuff I'm going through, but it's like you leave without, you know, expressing that to me. And then when you have a new life, but the things that you have a new life is not what you left for, like, you know, the industry and, you know, your mental health. And then you still in the, you know, you in the studio, you do creative, but then for me to hear a Salt song on the radio played, for me, that was devastating, because I felt that's it. And I had to deal with that. And we found our way back to each other, which is a beautiful thing. And that's the story, you know, fighting these things against all these odds and coming together.
So where does Spinderella come into this? Because I know Spinderella was, of course, part of the group, but then there was times when Spinderella wasn't part of the group. How did she get introduced to y'all? And then what happened during that journey? Because sometimes we hear Spinderella, sometimes Spinderella's not in the group. So what happened with that journey?
It's going to cost us $50,000 every time we say that name. So
really?
Spinderella said you get my
really?
Well, no, our lawsuit has been settled. It actually got sent to me. It got sent to mediation, and it's been done. The Spinderella thing, I'm going to try to keep it real short.
Please.
But what people, I don't know if they realize, and I think when you see the movie, is first of all, Salt-N-Pepa were friends. We had a male DJ, right, first. We had the first Spinderella. And then we did the whole Hot, Cool, and Vicious album, and Herbie brought in this Spinderella. At that point, we were already established as Salt-N-Pepa. We were already established as a company together. We are partners, always have been partners. Spinderella was an addition to what we had already created. Mm-hmm. There's always been a lot of attempts to compromise, to satisfy on everybody's part. And it just never got to a place where it was what, she thought it should be. And so sometimes things come to a head. It's unfortunate. I know that everybody hates when a group breaks up. They want all the members of En Vogue. I understand that. But internally, sometimes things get to a point where you have to part ways. We wish Spinderella the best. We're open to whatever can happen in the future. I've reached out to her. I haven't gotten anything back, but my heart is open.
I want to go back to something Peppa said, but I do want to ask y'all, since we're on it, how did it feel to be sued by Spinderella? Like when y'all first got the lawsuit, how did that feel?
You know what? I felt like it was going there, because this was years of, a buildup. And everyone has a perspective, right? Mm-hmm. There's your perspective, there's your perception of what went down. Everyone has a right to their feelings about what they should be getting. And just because you say something doesn't make it true. It just makes it your perspective. I do understand where Spinderella's head is at, so I wasn't surprised, but I do know that it probably was necessary to get to that point in order to put an end to, whatever anyone thinks it is. When you go into legal, it tells you exactly what it is. And then that's it,
Just imagine if Wendy Williams would have been Spinderella, like she said she could have been.
We wouldn't have made it.
Hell no. She'd have been telling all y'all business, everything that was supposed to be behind the scenes, she'd have been telling people.
Yes.
Now, Charlamagne, you had a question?
How Wendy doing, Charlamagne? Do y'all speak?
You know what? I spoke to her. Was it last year? Last year we got up and spoke because I was supposed to be in her documentary and I did shoot for it, but I decided not to be in it again. But you know how you meet somebody and you just realize that's just a chapter in your life that's closed. Like it ain't no beef or nothing, but you just like, I did that already.
Yes, and as we mature, you don't really collect enemies. You don't harbor feelings. You just keep moving. It's like you said, that happened. That's over. I'm looking toward the present and the future and wishing people well.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to ask Pep, because she was talking about y'all being real friends. Did y'all being real friends help y'all to navigate through the ups and downs of this business?
I think so. I said that's what it was. It's a reminder that, wow, we met literally at school, in the lunchroom, and we gravitated each other. We were Sandy and Cheryl. So, and we went through things and, as friends, real friends first. And I think we recognize that and we know that. And that's innate in us to say, hey, we were friends first. This thing here took us in this direction, that direction, but let's understand the foundation to this. This was Sandy and Cheryl. So I think that makes me know that makes me also have that fight and that drive, how this actually happened. I play it back over and over. I'm like, damn, was meant to be. It was orchestrated by God, and I'm like, wow, it was just the way the steps were, I follow in that path, and that's why I fight for this. No matter what, I fight for it. And right now, having our Lifetime Achievement Award, with the Grammy.
Congratulations!
Congrats.
Yes, and to get the Hollywood, Walk of Fame, and then, the movie, all at this once. And the Grammy especially is very important because here we boycotted that back in 89 and then went on to get our Grammy televised first women, hip hop, doing, feeling good, like, yes, for the women, yay, hip hop. And then here, 36 years to acknowledge the worth and the contribution to music as well. One of the platforms to get the Achievement Award Lifetime. I'm like, thank you, to live to see it. Because I just want to say one thing. It's like that Tina Turner movie. I always say, damn, if I do a movie, I want to end on the stage like that. Tina Turner doing her thing, rocking out, and I to live to see your biopic and to get these accolades and these great accomplishments that I worked so hard to get. I'm like happy.
Hey, this is where icons come to, we're at that point in our lives where you get all the accolades. It's almost like wrapping it up with a red bow,
And still touring, and y'all are headlining the shows that the guys that back in the day weren't even giving you the respect you deserve. They're now on your tours that you guys are the headline performers on, which I think is so dope to come full circle like that.
We were always the only females on every tour we went on, and most of the time we were headlining, so we would have to go last after a lot of guys. Even with MC Hammer, we headlined over MC Hammer. That was hard to handle because that dude had a circus.
Got energy.
I'm like, you got 4 dancers, you got Cirque du Soleil happening. Like, you could go before, after us. How about we switch places?
Right.
Now, when you guys were working at Sears, right? And what was it, Green Acres Mall? That Sears?
College Point.
College Point. Oh, you was on the other side. So when you were working at Sears and Kid and Play was there and, Martin Lawrence, did y'all know that y'all all were going to be great at that time? Did y'all feel that energy like this is something that we have, or was one of those things y'all were just kids, y'all didn't even think anything about it?
I love that story because it's just a testament to when you have a dream and you're passionate about it and you really believe what can happen. And it is unusual. Martin Lawrence, Kid and Play, Salt-N-Pepa, Herbie, Lovebug was all working as telephone solicitors. But I remember talking to Martin, and it's all he talked about was being a comedian. And he always said he was going to be great. And I didn't think he was funny,
And I thought it was funny. He used to try his stuff out on us all the time. Like, get this joke. And
but he became Martin Lawrence, and I think that when you figure out exactly what it is that you're passionate about, that you're good at, excuse me, that excites you, that energy just pushes you forward to make it happen. For me, school was not for me. I was in college, failing, not going to class, hanging out in the lunchroom. That's where I met this crazy girl, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And when Herbie put me on the mic, all kudos to Herbie. That guy is a genius. But when he put me on the mic, I was like, this is it. There's no, like I've heard Will Smith say, no plan B. That was me all day. It's like, this is do or die for me. And look what happened,
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to add, but with the whole Martin Lawrence and from the Sears, and I was just saying really quick, show with that moment, just to add, and when we got our first gig, and we were saying that Sears, and all that, whoever get put on and will help each other. But I was just saying that moment when Salt-N-Pepa got our first gig, and then Martin Lawrence, we honored that, and Martin opened up for us. But right there, it was introducing comedy and hip hop that was like, it went together because the audience, I remember that now to this day, hip hop, comedy, and it worked. And I just wanted to add that, like.
No, and to add on to that too, for you guys with the whole Sears story where Kid and Play, didn't Play design your logo and your clothes and all of that too? So it was like an all-in-one.
Yeah, the whole Idol Makers family with Sweet Tea, Salt-N-Pepa, Dana, Kwame, Kid and Play. Herbie was the first Diddy, and there was so much talent. Like you said, Play is an artist. He's an incredible drawer. Like a lot of a lot of rappers are actually artists in so many different ways, like Kwame as well. So Play designed, sketched out the jacket. It was during the time when 8-ball jackets was the thing. And he also had a leather store, but Dapper Dan ended up constructing the jacket. So within that whole look, you know, the Kente hats we got from a sis up in Harlem. We just put the spandex with it. The boots was from Fava. And, and that just became, you know, when I look at that, it's like, I think the statement was hip hop superheroes, you know, female superheroes. That's what that picture reminds me of.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, Salt-N-Pepa, Kid and Play had the same management, Herbie Hancock. Why didn't Salt-N-Pepa get
Herbie Lovebug?
Herbie Lovebug. I'm sorry, I said Herbie Lovebug. Why didn't Salt-N-Pepa get the same opportunities as Kid and Play?
Oh, you mean
I was saying that, like House Party,
movies,
House Party,
cartoons,
like House Party,
cartoons, yeah.
Look, you know what's so funny?
Oh, here we go. What happened?
No, real talk. This was I just spoke to Play, and he just said to we just did something together. He said, Pep, I heard you've been upset a little bit about House Party, not, you know, Salt-N-Pepa not being a House Party. And we didn't get to really get into it because I want to say, yes, I was upset. Because why weren't we in House Party 1 and 2?
That's a great question, Charlamagne. I think that goes also to just the underestimation of women, you know, again, even within that man camp, you know, led by Herbie, that we never ended up in Hollywood. We should have. Easily.
Now, Salt, I want to ask you about mixing business and pleasure, because obviously Herbie Lovebug was your boyfriend and that's in the movie, and y'all went through a lot. Well, you went through a lot having to deal with him. So when it comes to mixing management with, you know, your boyfriend, what are your thoughts on that? And what would you tell somebody today?
Don't do it. Don't do it. If you do not,
talking to me. Yes,
she was directing it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Salt-N-Pepa's over again. There we go. Now Salt-N-Pepa over again.
Sorry. Yes, Pep's right. Don't do it. But he was already my boyfriend. Right. He's the one that introduced me to music. He's the one that groomed me as a rapper, you know? So it was like, okay, now we're rappers and, you know, what, I'm gonna break up with him because, like, you know, but don't start out that way for sure. But mine was a, you know, boyfriend. You know, what are you gonna do? I learned a lot from Herbie being his girlfriend, though, because I was always around him. I was around him when he got his first drum machine, you know, when he was making beats, when he was creating, and I was gleaning a lot from him. So I appreciate, you know, being able to be in his space as much as I did. Like I say with Herbie, I got Salt-N-Pepa. With my ex-husband, I got my 2 kids. So
don't do it. Can I go? Let me tell you, I'm going to add, because Herbie is the only one that gets a pass because he was already the boyfriend and everything. But Salt and I had got another manager. Her ex-husband was our manager. So
wrong manager.
That's another. And I'm saying once again,
and he was great at it.
I'm just saying your ex-husband.
He used to do 5 jobs at once, so we got him real cheap.
The manager. I'm just saying. There's Herbie. Then her beautiful 2 children father was also our manager. So I'm just saying, it's a difficult position to be in when you're in a group. Your partner, significant other should not be the manager. It's difficult, maybe, or anything, because it gets difficult. And then I'm sure a lot of artists, father position, or anybody in the member, when a group member has to deal with the manager being their significant other or whatever. It's a tough position to be in. Right. And for the other band members still, it's a tough position.
Well, Peppa,
understand that.
along with that, did you think that financially you ever got stiffed out of money or that things were a little shady ever? Because
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
I said, did you ever feel financially like you got stiffed out of some money or things weren't fair because of the relationship?
Oh, well, not from me and her, like us stiffing each
I know,
other.
but not from her, but.
Oh, I know what you mean. I would have to make that clear. Never. But there was management team that I know for a fact the money wasn't right and everything. And I will try to call in other business people, accountants, be like, to double check, like, I need y'all to come in because I can feel gut is not right. And when I bring them in, other outside to come and cross them T's and dot them I's, I get shut down, you know, and it was difficult because I know, and it's a different position and difficult for her because she's the girlfriend of all of this. So a lot of things they might not bring to her or whatever. Right. And when she's saying that we resentment, it's because it's driving. It's a lot of things. And I'm coming to her always complaining about them. And it's hard. She don't really want to hear that because a lot of it is her man or this or that, and it's too much for her at times, but I
totally disagree.
But we don't
wasn't right.
You say you resent.
Louis Burrell to get our contract right. I was right there for it.
Oh no, I was about to say that part. I'm just talking about the early. I was just my Herbie. I said hats off. I said, but that part would show when we grow. And yes, and the movie will show that. And that part was amazing and important for both of us and for me. And that's what you'll see that. I'm not talking take that away. I was just talking about back then, it was the position we were in.
A lot of things that I wouldn't allow. Herbie wanted to get rid of Pep at one point. I was like,
that's what I'm saying.
Without
go ahead, tell all the stuff.
To divide the money funny.
Right.
I was like, I'm not doing that. That's my girl. So I don't know.
Well, I got two questions about that. Number one, if I was you, Salt, I would have never paid Herbie 10%. You can't date me and get 10%. Okay, that's number one. And number two, who are they going to replace Pep with?
Exactly. Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody. I'm saying what he was saying to me, and I was like, there is no Salt-N-Pepa without this pepper. Right. That was never an option to me.
What do y'all think about, people attack Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion when they created WAP? But then, you go back to some of your music, I can't understand why people were so upset. What were your thoughts when they were trying to ban the music and was so mad about that?
You know what, just for me personally, coming from an era when our music was so censored and what you could say and what you couldn't, what you can say, and with stickers on our albums or, coming from that time and music, our music is self-expression that you're supposed to be able to express yourself. Right. So coming from stifled and not be able to express ourselves and seeing these women having a voice and, and speaking what they want to talk about, because come on, I mean, a lot of male rappers have said worse and, with them speaking what they want to rap about and what they talk about, I'm fine with that. I am like, why? Because we came so long to have a voice, be able to vote as women, to just in all. And why censor us now?
Right.
I don't believe in censorship on any level. I mean, everybody has the right to express themselves, especially as an artist.
What was the WAP for y'all? Was it Push It or Let's Talk About Sex? What was y'all WAP?
Probably Push It.
Push It, yeah.
Yeah.
I never looked at Let's Talk About Sex like it was a nasty song. I kind of felt like it was more like, let's educate ourselves on the good things and the bad things.
And Push It to me was very just dirty dancing. Because I feel like if Herbie, if it was so sexual, I feel at that time, if Herbie had wanted it that way, it would have been all kinds of sex scene, Push It, and all kinds of, but it was very about art of dirty dancing, music. And for me, I like Shoot, but you're saying our WAP song, that's the reverse.
I'll Take Your Man was probably more controversial than any of that.
I think so.
Yeah. I'll Take Your Man.
Y'all didn't want to record Push It at first, right?
Well, we didn't understand the song. It was so out of the vein of what we were used to, like Tramp and I'll Take Your Man and My Mic Sound Nice and all those songs, The Showstopper. And it was just like, what? But we trusted Herbie musically, and we just did the song because it was the B-side of Tramp. So we were like, it doesn't matter. Let's just record it. And it's the biggest Salt-N-Pepa song to date. It's the song that gave us international and commercial success. Like Pep said, we went pop before it was popular, and popular just means that your music crosses boundaries, it crosses genres and race and, overseas. So we became an international success out the gate with that song.
But to add on what you're saying, that when Herbie brought that song, and I remember being in Brooklyn, being right there, and he was, saying this is how it's gonna go, and I knew it was poppy, and I was like right there. For me, I was experiencing the street shut out a little bit, people doing videos without asking Salt-N-Pepa to be, no collabs, this, but we selling all of these platinum, and I was like, oh, they gonna get us now with this song. This song is real pop.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and I was just because feeling that, but I was like, okay, but Herbie was like, trust me on this. And we trust Herbie on it, of course, because we trust Herbie, and it's like getting in the studio, getting the booth. I mean, not the booth, getting the bathroom booth, which we did.
Bathroom booth.
It was a bathroom.
And we was this close, and we did that song, and, and that video, and it was like you said, it was the B-side, and it was, it took a life of its own with the jackets. We always say the Pusha jacket is more famous than us.
And how come y'all didn't do more, like, y'all didn't do nothing? Like, I figured y'all would do more features with people, but y'all didn't do too many features at all. And why was that?
Like Pep said, we wasn't on self-destruction. Nobody called us, We were like the outcasts of the business, I think because we were so different, they didn't really know where to put us.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Salt-N-Pepa brought fun, fashion, and femininity to hip hop. And I think that's why a lot of women, young ladies related to us. We were different. It was hurtful. I remember me and Pep having quite a few conversations about, collabs and why certain people don't see themselves collabing with us. But then we did a collab with En Vogue.
Yes.
What a man.
Explosive, so it is what it is. We still
one story, and I have to say, I know for a fact Biggie, because, and I'll never forget this, we were living at the time in Glen Point together, like everybody was over there. And I remember going over to Biggie, and I was like, can we do a collab, Salt-N-Pepa? And he was like, yes, he was down. He agreed. Everything studio was setting up. And I have to say this, it was that very night. Remember, we had our tickets and everything to go to LA Salt, and Carol called us and said, we canceled the flight because, Biggie, that's, when he got shot. But we were heading to the studio on the flight to meet Biggie for the studio. So I would say he was going to be on the Salt-N-Pepa album.
What date was this? He got shot he died on March 9th. How, was that in the month of March?
Yes, it was the day going. It was the same day headed to the night of the party.
Wow.
We were going into the studio. The flight to meet him the next day in the studio.
Wow. So y'all probably would have ended up on Life After Death album then.
Or Biggie would have wound up on their album.
On ours. It was to collab with Salt-N-Pepa. He agreed to.
What do you think you two missed out on as artists that rappers in this era, especially female rappers, have now?
More control over your image, more control over your business, through social media and the record companies losing all that power that they had. It created an environment where moguls are being made, we missed out on stylists. Y'all
did good.
We missed out on endorsements and, you know, the way that the world kind of accepted the culture on another level of money making, you know, making rap, making the hip hop culture work for their brands, like the way Gucci just collabing now with Dapper Dan, and you know, we missed that boat.
So
but
Cover Girls, Victoria's Secret commercials. Wait a minute now.
Yeah, we on the tail end.
Collab, but to the extent though of the social this platform. But go ahead, you know I ain't gonna want to put Salt-N-Pepa. Sorry.
So to me, more control, I think.
Would y'all do some? Are you guys gonna record some more stuff together?
We have
always recording. I have music. You know, we've been waiting for a situation, you know, that makes it worth going in the studio for. So I would leave that for
a team. Team is important. Like Kevin Hart said, team. I learned that having a good team, you can't do it all by yourself. And having a good team, people around you that is for longevity, understand, you know, the goal, the dreams, the aspiration, everything, and get the picture. That's what we have in place just in real time right now, where we at. You know, kudos to our new team. And because like Saul said, we've always made music, and it's just having what to do, how to place it. We do our part, we get in the studio, but it's a family, and making sure all the right components for it to happen is great.
Now, also, Peppa, are you suing a doctor for negligence? What happened with that situation? I just seen that.
Well, I'm in. I had an Uber accident, and I can't go deep in, like I said, when in lawsuits. I had an Uber accident where my spine got crushed, and it was cracked in my neck and everything. Still was pushing it on tour, everything, but in all this pain. So, but in between that, I was physically damaged internally and externally with the seatbelt, like just location moving around. Yeah, it's like I said. But for me, I had extensive surgery. Put it like this: I had an unnecessary surgery because I'm in a lawsuit. So when you're in a lawsuit, let me put it like this: there's a lien, and it's called where you don't have to put up any money up front. The doctors, the lawyers take a certain percentage from you, and you don't have to come out of pocket. That's what a lien. You don't have to come out of pocket. But I can't go deep in. But so they invoice what they, for your operations or whatever. Right. But for me, unnecessary surgery to invoice.
Okay, got it.
Gotcha.
I don't need that one. I didn't need that. I'm not coming for no enhancement. I'm not coming to make anything bigger. I'm not coming to make anything nothing. Everything is a decrease, take out. I'm good. I had fun. That's what I was trying to do.
Now, so I saw people were criticizing you for saying that you weren't going to be talking about your relationships and your ex, but I didn't think that because it wasn't part of the story, but you did address it in the biopic. And I just want you to clear that up, because it's not that you omitted those things. It just wasn't what the storyline was.
Yeah, I mean, it was about me and Sandy. It was about our career. It was about our friendship. It was not supposed to be about my relationship. Like I said, that's the father of my kids. There's limits for me personally that I don't feel like I need to get into. That's just my choice. He didn't sign up to make a movie. My dad didn't sign up to make a movie. And not knocking anyone who tells their whole story and tells, no matter, like Wendy going in on Kev.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. No. And I think that's her choice because that's her experience, but that's just not what I chose to do, period.
Gotcha.
Do you think you'll ever get to a place within yourself, maybe a place of healing where you would feel like you want to tell those stories?
I don't think exposing those things is a healing thing for me. I think it bring more drama into my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm into healing those relationships, moving forward and not going backwards if I don't have to. I can tell my story and just tell you I was in a dysfunctional relationship. I mean, you could just imagine what that means. You know, I don't have to give the details. My healing has been looking at myself. Why was I in that relationship? Why did I stay so long? Why didn't I think that I could have something different? You know, why did I not have any deal breakers or boundaries? You know, what's wrong with me? You know, so I'm in that process now. That's why I'm so into your mental health initiative, where I'm not making anything about anyone else. I'm making my stuff about me so that I can move forward. Because I haven't been dating, because if I dated without healing, right, I'm gonna date from that trauma of not just my relationship, but childhood. And so I gotta get that together so my picker can be better. You gotta have a good picker so I can know what I want. So I can walk into a situation with someone that I feel is worth it and be able to say who I am and be accepted for who I am and understanding who I am.
Absolutely.
Peppa, was it therapeutic for you when you wrote your book? Let's talk about Pep, because I feel like you did give us a lot in that.
Yes, it was, because my book was a lot about my journey, about my childhood, what I went through. I think it was important and kudos to Nas. He always like, oh, it's a must read. And, he gave it to his sisters and as a woman. And it meant a lot because I shared some, my journey and my struggle. And I think having a voice where I came from, I think it's nice to document for me because it helps other women. It helps where I came from when I didn't have a voice, and I saw my growth having a voice, and to express my growth, and other women tell me like, oh my God, reading your book, thank you. I went through the same thing, and I shared overall my relationship with men. It wasn't just about Tretch, or anything. It was about men. In my life overall.
Girls, what's my weakness? Men.
And when I wrote that, like, here I go again.
It's pizza for me now.
But those are healing for me because I love reciprocation when I hear another woman or a guy or everybody like, yo, I love your story. That helped. And that my journey, inspiring and because I don't care about my ups and downs, like I said, and my flaws and my good time, because I'm celebrating, because I believe in God, I keep the faith. And so that's why it gets another notch in my belt. I put it like that. Right. When I do the victory and I accomplish the next step and the next step, because I'm like, yes, Pep, you going, keep going, girl. And that feels good for me.
Angela. How's dating for you?
It's good. I've been in my relationship, everything. I'm a really chill, like, easygoing person. And I think for myself, like I couldn't date somebody that wasn't chill also. I've done that before where guys who have been really jealous and just overdoing it too much. And I know I can't have that in my life. As soon as I see those red flags, I'm out. So we're pretty good.
Yeah, you have to have a really secure person. That those insecurities, that's another thing, when you're a successful woman, first of all, you hardly ever get approached. I'm like, anybody, somebody, you hardly, because there's an intimidation factor. And then, you get into it with someone, they already know who you are. And then they end up not being able to handle it. And then you end up in this scenario of compensating, constantly trying to compensate, which is a mistake. So it sounds like your dude is like secure in who he is. That's important.
Yeah. I don't even let anybody raise their voice at me. If you raise your voice, I'm gonna be like, I
think that's what's important is setting your tone and you're not adjusting. They have to adjust. And that's just exactly what it is. It's just setting your tone and sticking by it and sticking by, like you said, oh, you can't raise your voice at me, and sticking with that. And that's what it is. And, it commands and respect. You don't have to demand it. You should be able to just command that respect.
And I also don't do that either. So I think I can't expect you to not do the thing and then I do them to you. I'm not going to be going crazy, throwing things, yelling, because I don't want that.
I never understood how a lot of women call their men like, excuse my French, bitch ass niggas.
Oh, I would never.
No, I would be scared I'm gonna get choked. And there's a line, you know what I mean? Like the language today is like, it's incredible. So yeah, respect is.
Yeah, my boyfriend would probably laugh like, where did that come from?
Yeah, and my son, I taught my son, because I think that's very important, because I'm like, look, like I have to teach that, you know, because that's like raising your kid. I'm like, that I know what that is. So I'm like, don't do that.
Right.
You know, don't be calling a woman that, or don't be putting your hands on a woman, you know, and it's just, you know, constantly, if you know, teaching that. And I think it's vice versa. It's like Egypt, my daughter. And I'm like, don't be calling your dude no names either. And don't be grabbing him or slapping him or mushing him either. I think it's hands off for a woman too. Like, I mean, for real. I mean, I don't think she should be slapping him and he shouldn't be slapping her.
That's right. Well, the biopic is tonight. Definitely go check it out. 8/7 Central.
I'm watching again. I'm excited. I gotta watch it with the commercials and all. I'm excited.
Make sure you check it out, and we appreciate you guys for joining us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Salt-N-Pepa.
I have a 11 Carrera Porsche 1985 that I'm looking to redo, and everybody like call you.
All right, send me a picture. I think Pep got my numbers, and just send me the pictures. I will take care of it, no problem.
All right, cool.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Right.